The relationship between the US and China is going to affect all of us over this century. If you look around the world, there's really no problem that can be solved without China's constructive engagement. Unfortunately, I think we misunderstand the Chinese on multiple levels. First, they're not really a threat to the US, which is the way it's been often presented. The common refrain is that the Chinese are taking away the jobs of American workers. So why not put tariffs on Chinese imports? Well, I think we have to remember the American consumer is addicted to cheap products. And I don't believe that any president is going to be able to force the American public to accept higher prices for the sake of saving jobs of other American workers. So we have to think about this in a more creative way. Now, a number of people have argued that increasing economic engagement will help ameliorate the situation of political repression and human rights in China. I don't think that's going to happen. China's going to make its own decisions and move at its own pace. But the hope is, as its economy becomes more sophisticated, as it develops more of an urban middle class, the pressure will increase for greater political freedom as well as the greater economic freedom that has already been a product of reforms in China. Well, when I went first to China during the Cultural Revolution, it was still that traditional image of people running around in little blue mouse suits, regimented, organized, no freedom whatsoever. Today, China is much closer to not perhaps Western norms, but international ideas about what makes for a good life. We do tend to stereotype the Chinese as more accepting of authoritarian rule. But when it doesn't work anymore, I'm sure like many other countries, they'll throw off those shackles. There's no doubt that China is a much freer, much easier place to live in than it was 30 years ago. But there are questions about whether China can continue to develop effectively. There's a lot of waste in the Chinese economy. There's a housing bubble fit to burst. So simply looking at China today and seeing that as an insurmountable challenge for America is mistaken. To be honest, I don't really think that it's the development of China that is affecting the American worker. U.S. companies are going to look for the cheapest spots and the biggest profit for its shareholders. If it's not investing in China, it's going to be investing somewhere else. And we already see a lot of the bottom-end investment shifting out of China to Vietnam, to Bangladesh. So those jobs are never going to come back to America. If we look forward, China has a huge war chest of foreign reserve funds because of the amount of U.S. debt it buys up, that it could invest back into America. But it will only do that, I think, if America invests sufficiently in its own infrastructure. It's very simple to blame China for America's woes, and it's much more difficult to say that these are problems which are fundamental to American society. And perhaps that's what needs to be worked on rather than just blaming China.